So the question is how to develop power. How are you going to enhance an athlete's force velocity profile? In other words, how are you going to improve an athlete's ability to produce maximal power? First of all, it's important to understand that strength lays the foundation for the development of power. This is well established in the research as well as sports performance. Ask any college or professional sports coach. This is an excellent review article. And before I get into specific studies that demonstrate the importance of maximal strength for the development of maximal power, I want to go over an important quote from this review. They concluded that greater muscular strength is strongly associated with improved force time characteristics that contribute to an athlete's overall performance. This is why you're not going to perform Olympic lift derivatives in isolation. You're also going to perform a squat variation, single leg variation, push pull variations, as well as other accessory exercises that are appropriate. Now, I highlighted the single leg variation. I'm going to talk about this in much greater depth in my bilateral versus unilateral course, but I want to give you a quick, important preview for injury prevention. A lot of research has demonstrated that if the dominant leg or the stronger leg is more than 10% stronger than the weaker leg, that the weaker leg is at a much, much greater risk of serious injury, such as torn ACL, so on and so forth. But I'll save that for another time. Now let's get into specific studies that demonstrate the importance of maximal strength for the ability to generate power. This was an excellent study by the legend Dr. Stone. They reported that stronger athletes generated much higher peak power production during the counter movement jump and the squat jump compared to the weaker athletes. So here you have the counter movement squat jump and the static squat jump. Now, what's interesting is what they did. They divided the participants into 5 strongest and 5 weakest. So this is examining the maximal power output at a percentage of 1 repetition maximum. So here's percentage 1 RM. Here's the 5 strongest and the 5 weakest. And when you look at these values, this clearly demonstrates that strength is critical for maximal power. The stronger you are, relatively speaking, the more power you're going to be able to produce. Now, another interesting study compared Olympic weightlifters against powerlifters and sprinters. And they found that the Olympic weightlifters had greater squat strength and higher power outputs during weighted and unweighted jumps. Little side note about powerlifters. Powerlifting needs to be renamed. There's not a lot of power because power is force times velocity. When you see these athletes deadlift 900 pounds, it's traveling very, very slow. But let's look at the data. So you have the powerlifters, the Olympic lifters, the sprinters, and a control group. We're not going to pay any attention to the control group. But notice how the Olympic weightlifters were significantly stronger than the powerlifters. This is in kilograms, not pounds. So 25 kilograms is quite a bit. Now let's look at the peak force. Once again, the Olympic weightlifters squat was significantly stronger. And look at the peak force, regardless of the loaded condition. It was significantly greater for the powerlifters.